It all started on a quiet Sunday morning when Marcus, a hard-working man who'd just moved into his dream home, noticed a shiny white SUV parked in his driveway. He thought it was a mistake, maybe a visitor got the wrong house. But hours passed, and no one came to claim it. Later that evening, a woman with sunglasses and a judgmental smirk strolled up. "Oh, I hope you don't mind," she said casually. "It's just easier for me to park here." Marcus smiled politely, trying to keep the peace. But deep down, something didn't sit right. Who parks in someone else's driveway like it's their own? He didn't want drama, so he let it go. But that night, as he looked out his window and saw her car still there, he realized this wasn't an accident. It was the start of something much bigger. Days turned into weeks, and every morning Marcus found Karen's SUV in his driveway. He tried talking to her, but she always brushed him off with condescending excuses. "It's just temporary," she'd say, or, "You have so much space, what's the problem?" He contacted the HOA for help, but to his surprise, the board sided with her. "Karen's been part of this community for years," they said. "Try to work it out peacefully." Marcus couldn't believe it. Here he was, a new homeowner just trying to fit in, yet somehow he was the one being treated like an outsider. Every time he saw that car, it felt like a reminder that people like Karen thought rules only applied to others. Still, Marcus stayed calm, until the day she blocked him in when he needed to rush to work. That was the moment he decided enough was enough. Marcus documented everything. Photos, dates, times. Every moment her car sat in his driveway. He called the police, but they said it was a civil matter. So he did his research and discovered the city ordinance allowed him to have unauthorized vehicles towed from private property. The next morning, when Karen's car appeared again, he made one quick call. Minutes later, a tow truck rolled up, chains rattling in the sunlight. Karen came running down the street, yelling, "You can't do this. I'm part of the HOA." The driver didn't even flinch. Within minutes, her SUV was gone. The silence that followed was the sweetest sound Marcus had ever heard. For the first time, he felt a sense of justice. But little did he know, this was only round one. Karen wasn't done, and neither was karma. The next day, Karen stormed up to Marcus's porch, waving papers and threats. "You'll regret this," she hissed. "The HOA will fine you." But Marcus wasn't afraid anymore. "You can't fine someone for enforcing their own property rights," he replied calmly. That only made her angrier. The following week, she started a petty campaign, reporting his trash cans, his lawn height, even accusing him of violating neighborhood decor standards. The HOA began sending warning letters, each more absurd than the last. Marcus felt cornered again, but he refused to be bullied. Quietly, he started attending HOA meetings, learning the rules inside out. He realized something powerful: the same rules Karen weaponized against him could also be used to expose her. And soon, that chance would come. At the next HOA meeting, Karen sat proudly at the front, surrounded by her usual circle. When Marcus walked in, the room grew tense. "I'd like to bring up a concern," he said, holding up printed photos. Karen's SUV, parked in his driveway, date stamped for weeks. Gasps echoed through the room. He laid out everything: the warnings, the reports, the bias. Even the HOA president couldn't deny the evidence. "This is unacceptable," one member muttered. Karen tried to defend herself, claiming she had permission, but Marcus had her recorded admitting she didn't. The board went silent. Finally, they voted unanimously: Karen would face penalties for repeated violations. She left the room fuming, her once smug expression replaced with disbelief. But instead of learning her lesson, she doubled down, and made her biggest mistake yet. 2 days later, Marcus looked out his window, and there it was again. Karen's SUV, sitting in his driveway like a taunt. This time, she'd even left a note on the windshield: "You can't stop me." Marcus smiled. He picked up his phone and called the tow company again. When the truck arrived, he didn't even watch. He just went inside, poured himself coffee, and waited. Minutes later, the sound of angry shouting filled the street. Karen's car disappeared for the second time. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering. The story spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. People started to realize who Karen really was, and for once, Marcus wasn't the outsider. He was the man who stood up for himself, calmly and firmly, without stooping to her level. Weeks later, peace returned to the street. Karen stopped parking in his driveway, and the HOA grew unusually quiet around Marcus. Some neighbors even apologized for how things had been handled. Marcus didn't gloat, he just smiled and went about his life. But something had changed. People began to respect him, not for his words, but for his patience and persistence. One morning, as he watered his plants, Karen drove by, avoiding eye contact. Her arrogance was gone, replaced by silent humility. Karma had done its work. Marcus had never wanted revenge, only fairness.